Great to meet you. The show tickets are on sale. The tour is called Gold Over America Tour. Hello, hey, hi everybody. It's me, family. Being subscribers, and likewise, I say to interview visitors to my own personal channel, chat room, and our comment section. How are you all doing? Hopefully everyone is doing at least okay. If not better yet to be said, to be feeling all right. If not best of all to be said, to be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed and stressed, or too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. You and yours, your family and friends, and hopefully me and mine likewise as well, all the same. Or anybody being of whom I would consider as being, my family or friends, be they related to me or not. Okay? And that is including any strangers that could possibly come of some or such, you know, to me, or rather, should I say, for me, as well for themselves. And birds of a feather flock together, and I myself personally, I do not hang out with the, like say, or how you say, how should I put it? The likes of riffraff of the criminal elements, who don't even so much as think about what is or consider for that matter, what could possibly be or become in their own better interest, not to mention, the general welfare of another or others, or what is in theirs, you know. And I don't do the dirt, if you know what I mean. Don't do the crime, you won't do the time. And I myself, I don't know about anybody else, but I have a rather personal allergy to the can in the crazy house. You know the can, the joint, the big house, Jail, prison, penitentiary, the pulpit, a board pen, or whatever it is to be called. But then the crazy house is just another atmosphere for its own premises and properties, uh, confinement or incarceration. You know what I'm saying? Besides all that, you stand a much greater risk of, you know, catching the coronavirus or COVID-19 in atmospheres as that. And you can also catch it in nursing homes. Well, those are a few atmospheres or places where you can catch it. I used to say the corona faggot virus or the COVID-19 homo global pandemic, but I'm not going there anymore. Because I don't want to, excuse me, I seem to have quite a bit of a compulsive disorder acting out at the moment of a physical nature or gesture. I do have allergies. But getting back to some such others, to think of it with that in my mind's attention, to try to backtrack here with reason or purposes being, once I can go on to following to continue from where and when that my person had last left off so I can finish up as incomplete of former previous prior line thought in the same sense of the word and without any further ado and disregard or ignore any interruptions. There are still those been the likes of proverbial neighbors from hell among the dime a dozen public nuisances of problem neighbors of a stupid or dumb cough idiots and or sickos, even on the same floor where I'm at for this building where I'm presently at, but then they can be found in other buildings and in other neighborhoods as well, and it takes all kinds to make a world. But then getting back to some of such other before I were to get to speaking upon the subject matter at hand, And as it is more or less, well, partly, somewhat, if not altogether, regarding making reference to the last mention so far, certain neighbors. But then one moved out of the building here, you know. Hopefully, I was not, partly responsible for one having done so, being on one of my next door neighbors. Hopefully, one of the sensible or sane ones. Hopefully, I wasn't partly responsible unintentionally for that matter. You know, after this one proverbial neighbor from hell, one of the dime a dozen public nuisances of problem neighbors, has gone out of his way to attempt to drive me completely bonkers, as he has put me through changes for the longest, as he has done and continues to do. But then getting back to some of such other before I lose my train of thought, and as I was saying, prior to then, how I no longer call the coronavirus or COVID-19, that I no longer call the coronavirus the corona faggot virus, or the COVID-19 homo global pandemic. So I say, to complete a form of previous pride, I thought, then, because I don't want to sounding or seem like a certain character otherwise, of a former ex, and as well as twice impeached, but then nevertheless yet twice acquitted president of the USA. You know, then I would rather see him back in the White House than the president elect, or the president that we have now, who is making the USA look like we have possibly that much more, you know, mud on our faces, or our name is Mud Americans, freedom loving peoples who cherishes a democratic republic or democracy. And although we also have blood on our hands, yeah. But anyway, though, this is not what I was meaning to talk about. I had not meant to. Well, but then as it come to mind, I was just saying, as part of the intro, the basic intro as an introduction before I were to get into the subject matter at hand that I really want to talk about or discuss some such matters, or to debate, or to go about express my views and opinions in due regard to the present given argument, and to compare them to that of others, the pros and cons thereof to be associated with it. You know, only after I get the preliminaries out the way, the basic intro, and being in which I think I have done just that, don't you think? Unless I'm mistaken. Well, somewhat, if not altogether. But then let's wrap this up, and so that I could finally get off into, just dive into the conversation, otherwise, dialogue at hand, for what this present social media broadcast or video is about, regardless of whether or not that my person were to speak upon any others after that. You know, I mean, as usual, I will give the basic introduction, then I will speak upon a subject matter, or a couple, few, or four more for that matter, depending on how I would have feel that some such to give a moment of time and express my views and opinions, and possibly engage in a Q&A session where anybody could pop up my comment section. That all depends, all the same, how I feel, you know, to put forth the effort to do that likewise, And then last but not least, I will give the conclusion of the matter. But anyway, now that we have gotten the preliminaries out the way, let me just jump into it. Yeah, one of my present next door, one of my, did I say one of my present, one of my prior or past, one of my next door neighbors for the present building where I'm located at, is what I meant to say, correction. As a resident or tenant, however say, paying annual monthly rent until lease rent, etc. depending on whether or not my utilities are included in my rent. Anyway, this neighbor had moved out, and unbeknownst to me, or as I was saying in the comment section, I was saying in the intro, until the last moment, I had found out, But then, nevertheless, there are still certain neighbors on the same floor that are still here. And not that I'm saying that all the neighbors on this here floor or in the building are the likes of the proverbial neighbors from hell that attempt to harass, intimidate, and persecute or terrorize and or traumatize the rest of us. You know, I mean, it takes all kinds to make a world. And you have the good and bad, some anywhere and everywhere. As it takes all kinds to make a world. But then there are certain neighbors otherwise that live down the hall from me, and they are really like kind of stupid and crazy, not to mention creepy themselves. But then whereas this other neighbor moved out was, I'm trying to give one the benefit of the doubt, though at times one was acting kind of, not like certain other neighbors on the same floor here. Like say, for example, there's some black males that be like acting kind of thuggish or thug to the bone. I suspect them of making like the midnight-cowboy, and worse yet, like spooks that sit by the door. One of them had asked me sometime most recently, was one was saying in more words or less, are you good? Are you okay? All that crap. My friend. What's up with that? Where did that come from? Just straight up out of the blue. I'm like, where is this going? No greeting, no you know, what it what it be like, bro? How you living today? Nothing like that. Or anything. Or like, hey, or good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, but uh, like, what's up otherwise? Like, are you good? You okay? I'm like, and whereas he was supposed to be catching this one elevator, was there's two elevators, then he was supposed to be catching this one elevator. Then whereas he opened up the door to the hallway to get to the other elevator. Then he opened the door again and come back on the floor and looks in my direction after that other asked me some such question. And then he goes back out the door to the other elevator. I'm like, what was that all about? So now I'm suspicious of him, because he acting like a common, ordinary dime a dozen thug. Street punk, skinhead, or whatever I have said. Just to confirm, verify, validate my suspicions that he is one of these other kind of neighbors, that terrorize the rest of us neighbors otherwise. He's one of these here neighbors that don't really have it all upstairs, if you know what I mean. Hopefully the neighbor that moved out wasn't confusing me with the likes, because that would make me really feel bad to think that I could be partly responsible for, one of the sane neighbors, sensible neighbors, having moved out as and relocated, one's self and one's loved ones and one's personal effects, belongings, or possessions to a different building, address, location for its premises, properties, real estate, residential facility, be it within the same neighborhood or for a different neighborhood community. That would really make me feel bad, for someone to confuse me with the likes of one of these other kind of neighbors. Then because I can get along with some of anybody, everybody, just as long as nobody attempt to, you know, step on my toes or rub me the wrong way or attempt to violate my civil and or human rights, And whereas I would hate for one to confuse me with a cat. Just the other day, I was going to the self-help recovery program meeting. But then, as a matter of fact, I tried to get to one tonight, but I got there a little bit too late with the traffic running kind of bad, Although, regardless of how I usually attend self-help recovery program meetings, during the daylight hours more than at night or at nighttime or in the evening for obvious reasons or purposes for my person having said so. Being which should prove that become a be a no-brainer as a self-explanatory. With there being an increase of you know idiots or morons and sickos in this day and age that we live in, and to fulfill biblical prophecy. And as we have it of the global pandemic, you know. As a matter of fact, I just got through hearing the news how well I don't watch the news. I don't watch them listen to it too late in the evening, and because I could become subject to experiencing more than enough nightmares, than to get some such additional ones after I were to go about it. Though you want to stay abreast or stay alert to what's going on, you know, with the current events, you know, for what's happening citywide, statewide, nationwide, worldwide. Then I don't watch it too late. Well, don't listen to it. I don't watch or listen to it too late because I don't want to have any other nightmares than what I could possibly come subject to experiencing. Enough it is already the case in situations up on the conditions and or likewise at time, but rather extenuating circumstances. But then I don't want to watch it too early either, because I want to try to start my day off the right way than to feel like I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, if you know what I mean. And whereas there are enough, more than enough proverbial neighbors from hell in the building to attempt to harass, intimidate, and persecute or terrorize and traumatize a person, than to bring out all that outside garbage from the different news story reports or broadcasts into your place of residence at a late night hour, you know, at one of them late night hours or much too late in the evening or too early in the morning. God forbid. Yeah. And anyway, though, there was something about a mass shooting, but so much for that. Getting back to some and such other though. Yeah, so certain neighbors they are continuing to act like they're stupid or dumb, called idiots or morons or sickles in their own right. Especially when they be making like the midnight cowboy and spooks to sit by the door, you know. And like down the hall from me, I don't trust these certain other neighbors, because they be really acting funky or foul, Okay, the kind of neighbors that trust me, you don't want to really consort with, know how that is, and that would not compliment the what you call the Mister Rogers children's television show theme song. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. But then I would really feel quite bad if I could be partly responsible, even if unintentionally, for one of the sane or sensible neighbors having moved out of the building. If this one next door neighbor was or is or could have possibly been considered as one of the sane or sensible neighbors. That would really make me feel bad. But then, Yeah, I would feel bad in some such other sense if certain neighbors were attempting to, you know, do me some hurt, harm, or danger. Every time I'd be waking up and I'd be feeling just so much in a funk, like somebody sabotaged my general physical health. Much earlier, I was feeling even worse than what I'm feeling now, but I feel a little better now, I guess. Though my arm is killing me. Well, not literally or actually killing me, but hoping. I'm wondering, why is it like, and then, one of my arms is really just causing me pain. It's hurting. And then one of my thumbs at that, although I have an old army injury of a knee injury at that. I'm wondering why is my arm hurt me like this here, like some neighbor from hell has made like the home invader or intruder and has done something to me in physical kind of way. And I suspect this one neighbor could possibly be responsible for the way I'm feeling now. Though I'm not hurting so much as before, but I'm still hurting, especially when it comes to this arm. One if he has something to do with something. So then there was a neighbor like this kind at another building I used to live at, whereas he stayed below me. You know what I'm saying? But would go on with the same old stupid and crazy or ignorant, insane, two cent power plays of different sorts of types. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because stupid does as stupid feels, and you have a lot more idiots and sickos in this world than before. And, all the while I was, so I say say for record and to make my case in point. And all the while I was composing as and typing up the footnotes as well as the intro for this social media broadcast. There's somebody out in the hall making like bam bam rubble, slamming doors. Worse yet, misbehaving like one is attempting to bother with my apartment door. That's why you gotta keep a working phone of some kind, or better yet, have both a working home phone and a working cell phone. Just in case you may have to dial the emergency number 911 for backup, for police assistance. Yeah, or for the police or the cops or whatever. But anyway, this one neighbor moved out from this floor and out of the building. I didn't notice it until later on. For 2 days. You know, like what? But yeah. As for me, I have yet to save up some money. You know, so that not only would I have money for moving expenses, but money for rent elsewhere, because certain neighbors have really made you know my life a living damn hell. My living arrangements to be quite a hellhole, especially when they get to creeping around my apartment door from the opposite side of my apartment door, and then bottom of my apartment door, and I get attempting to make like a home invader or intruder. So until I could start saving up money again, for this and that, then I myself being that on my person, until further notice, I'm stuck here, unfortunately. Whereas if it wasn't for my faith in God as a believer, then certain neighbors, they would really push me over the edge. Well, that's not the half of what I mean to say. If you know what I mean. Read between the lines, fill in the blanks. Yeah. Then I get some stronger pain relievers. It's just, oh, wow. I'm wondering, could it have something to do with a hospital visit that I had paid to a local vicinity, area, neighborhood, community, medical establishments, facilities, premises, properties. You know, whereas one of the medical personnel injected me with something, and it don't take this long for some of such pain to go away. So now, if anything, I'm thinking that more than like more often not it could possibly have something to do with one of these here proverbial neighbors from hell, worse yet, among the dime a dozen public nuisance property neighbors, you know. Yeah, so I suspect, you know. Anyway, though, getting back to Somerset Traveling, before I would have, closed shop and wrapping this all up, you know. So this neighbor moved out of the building, that is from the floor where I'm at. I didn't find out till the last moment, you know. Yeah. Okay. And I myself, I'm stuck here. Me myself, I myself, my person. I myself personally am stuck here. I can't be so fortunate to you know, just make about the second or third place of residence that I found for myself to fill out and sign an apartment rental lease, as well as move all my personal effects belonging to possession much as it could, regardless of the mix up or the mishap with certain movers who had done less than half the work they were paid to do, and got more than enough money, more money than what they should have gotten, as they ripped me off and left most of my stuff back there. I'm having to go back and forth to my old place to try to decide what I could before they throw all my personal effects, belongings, and possessions out on the sidewalk. And whereas, if anything, I would try to salvage what I need, not what I want, because there's a difference, Things that you want are not necessarily things that you need, personal effects, belongings, and possessions. If anything, try to get more of some such things that you need more than things that you want. And whereas you don't want to like become a collector so much, what you call, that would be considered as after a while clutter, you know, or you don't want to be confused with the character of a hoarder, and then be giving you walking papers. But anyway, so this one neighbor moved out, you know. I wish I could, not so much as he said, before to say, I wish I could be just as lucky, if anything. Let me rephrase that better yet. To be said, I wish I could become just as blessed, if not more, because I'm sick and tired of this building where I'm at now. And certain neighbors. But I just have to grin and bear it and take it to God in prayer. And hopefully in due time, I would have saved up enough money to, get the damn hell out of here. Or rather, should I say, correction, get out of this hell hole with certain neighbors from hell to make my life a living damn hell as usual. And certain neighbors be attempting to terrorize and traumatize or harass and intimidate and persecute other neighbors constantly upon a daily and nightly basis. But then, on the last note of interest, I would like to say, if you haven't gotten Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I hope that you would think to do so now while the blood is still running warm in your vein, by recognizing what he himself had done or did upon the cross of Calvary. However, said that, speaking correct, proper, so in his grammar, American dialect, with some such quality and quantity is not. And as I think of it with that in my mind, still try to backtrack here with reason or purpose of being known, so I can go with the following to continue from where and when I die. I at last left off so I can finish up as a complete upon period Friday night, though. Insensible. But whereas he went to the cross of Calvary, suffering at the hands of Roman soldiers, So if any of us, being of whatsoever race and whatever walks of life, males and females alike, were to profess some such faith in him, we don't have to worry about ending up in the lake of fire, damn hell, with the rest of the unsaved, lost, damn human souls, unbelievers and non-believers, to be tortured and terrorized by the devil and demon forever. For we will become and be blessed as citizens of the kingdom of heaven, being a company of like-minded believers. Once we will leave this world in the presence of God and his angels, otherwise, even so, be blessed while we're still here upon the planet. You all take care and be safe. We out. Peace. Until next time. Bye bye.